Hello there. Hi, I'm Toby Nussbaum, CEO of the National Capital Commission. And in today's episode of Capital Stories, we're going to learn about these amazing greenhouses that are hosted in Rideau Hall, but serve all of the NCC's official residences, and including, of course, Rideau Hall itself and Rideau Cottage and Harrington Lake and Stornoway and the farm. We know that Rideau Hall, of course, has been the official residence of Canada's Governors General for over 150 years. It is a beautiful 32-hectare estate in the heart of Ottawa that features everything from tall evergreens, sugar maples. We have a totem, we have an inukshuk. There are over 150 trees planted by royalty and foreign dignitaries from all over the world. And there are, of course, also greenhouses at the Rideau Hall that many people don't know, and they are both utilitarian and beautiful in terms of the experience you have by walking through them. And today, I'm happy to be joined by Kathleen Minkowski, who is our supervisor of gardens and greenhouses. And Kathleen, you're very lucky because I would say you have probably one of the best offices of anyone at the NCC, considering you call this your office. So I'm really intrigued. Firstly, can you tell us a bit about yourself and how long you've been working at the NCC and what prompted you to apply to this amazing job?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So I've worked with the NCC for about 6 years now, and I've always kind of worked in the industry of landscaping and horticulture, working on flower farms, kind of traveling around the world. And I came to Ottawa about 7-8 years ago, and I found one of the positions, a contract position back then. And then everything's just sort of evolved, and I've come to where I am today. And I feel extremely lucky because it is an incredible opportunity and such a unique role here.
Fantastic. Now, can you help us sort of situate, we're sitting in a greenhouse. Can you tell us about this greenhouse and tell us about the other greenhouses that are all connected and what their functions are?
Absolutely. So this is greenhouse number 1. It is our main show house. It was built in 1926, so it's reaching about 100 years old now. So originally, its original intent was to be enjoyed by the occupants of Rideau Hall. And historically, it was used for cut flowers. There were vineries on the property, citrus collections, and then all of our other working houses were used to grow on plants and kind of cycle through the plants that were used, as well as the plants that were used in all of the residences.
Okay, and then there's adjoining greenhouses as well, right?
Yeah.
And they all have slightly different functions?
They do, yeah. So the palm house is show house number 2. It has more tropical plants, if you will, including bananas, cocoa trees, pineapples, bromeliads. And then we have greenhouse 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 3 and 4 are set at cooler temperatures. 5 and 6 are a bit warmer. And that's sort of where we take plants to take a break and rest after being in the show houses. And it also stores our seasonal plants as well, which we change out over the course of the year.
Okay, and so different greenhouses are set at different temperatures. How do you control the temperature of each of the greenhouses?
Yeah, we have a program system called Priva, and so that's how we moderate the internal climate in the greenhouses, and that's monitored by our greenhouse technicians every day.
And that's using, I mean, would it be about opening windows or not opening windows? There's not actually heating systems in them, are there?
We do have one here in the basement of the greenhouses, but then since the greenhouses are so old, a lot of the ventilation and the windows, they are operated manually.
Okay, great. So I've had a chance to look through this greenhouse. You call it a show greenhouse?
Show house.
A show house. And I'm always intrigued because that there are many flowers and plants that I don't have in my own house or I don't see around the lands and parks of the NCC. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the more unusual varieties and if there are any stories behind them? Maybe I'll start with, what is your favorite plant in this greenhouse?
Oh my gosh, there's so many to choose from. I feel like our orchid display that we have in late winter, early spring is pretty incredible. But a plant that is of interest, I think a lot of people may have heard of it, is our jade collection that was donated by Youssef Karsh. He's a famous, or was a famous Ottawa photographer, well known for taking portraits of Queen Elizabeth as a princess or Winston Churchill. And he donated those over 40 years ago. And they're estimated to be about 150 years old, I would say. Wow. So we've taken care of those, or our greenhouse team has taken care of them over the years. But we also have a Cymbidium orchid that was left by Adrian Clarkson. And over the years, we've created about 10 plants from the original.
Oh, wow.
And of course, Adrian Clarkson is known for converting the private backyards from annuals to all perennials and creating an extensive peony collection as well. And like I mentioned, we have a citrus collection. So we've got lemons, oranges, grapefruits, tangerines, and those would be used by the staff kitchen, or the kitchen staff in Rideau Hall.
Okay.
So yeah, we have a lot of unique plants here that are taken care of by our staff. We'll propagate them and try and save all of our collections.
And this is, you can tell I'm not a horticulturist by the question I'm about to ask, but are they all perennials, or are there any annuals in the greenhouse as well? Or
we have both. So we have all of our core plants that act as the structure. Our trees, our podocarpus, our cypress, and then we'll have filler plants like ferns, and we'll use annuals. We'll have azaleas in the spring, hydrangeas, bulbs, chrysanthemums, and then in the wintertime we'll use poinsettias.
Okay, and do we grow our own annuals here out of bulbs and seeds?
We do. So our bulb and spring show, we start all of the bulbs in the fall, and we overwinter them in our root cellar here. And then a lot of the annuals that we'll use in here or in our planters at events or in the cut flower garden, we'll start from seed and then use them for all of those purposes.
Oh, isn't that great? So you mentioned that the kitchen staff use some of the fruit that we grow. You mentioned grapefruit, oranges, and lemons. Are those the
and limes as well?
And limes. Do we have herbs at all? Or?
Absolutely, yeah. In the wintertime, we'll have them in the greenhouses so that the kitchen staff can come out and use them to enjoy in the house. But we also start all of the herbs and the vegetables in the greenhouses that are then transplanted out into our vegetable garden.
Aha. Now, speaking of vegetable garden, I presume that is mostly a summer activity, and that's outside?
Yes, it is.
And it's also part of your responsibilities?
For sure, yeah. So like I mentioned, everything is planted out in the spring, which is a huge ordeal. May is very busy out there, but our team does a great job. And they also have a cut flower garden section, which is a big program for our floral team here. And all of the herbs and the vegetables and flowers are used inside of all the official residences.
Great. Now, we're here on a beautiful summer day. What would it be like if we were to be having this conversation in the middle of February? What would be different?
Well, first off, with the structure of the greenhouse, since it is about 100 years old, it's had a lot of wear and tear over the years, and it is a mostly wooden structure as well. So in Ottawa, as you know, we have extreme temperatures, weather conditions, harsh winters, so that's definitely had an effect on the greenhouse. But we are very lucky that it's climate controlled, so yes, there is not as much available in the winter in terms of vegetable and cut flowers, but we have the luxury of being able to grow some of it in the winter time. And we'll still have our beautiful Christmas display set up in the winter, so it's still able to be enjoyed year round.
Great. Now, although these are not open to the public on a regular basis, I believe there are a few times in the year where the public is invited to explore the greenhouses. Is that right?
Absolutely. So with Open Doors Ottawa, it's typically the first week of June and the long weekends of July, August, and September. So it's open to the public then, as well as the backyard gardens. And those are opportunities for people to come and enjoy all of the hard work that our team does every day. And we hope that we're showcasing Canadian horticulture so that it's enjoyed by all Canadians in perpetuity.
That's wonderful. And if the Governor General is hosting events, are the guests of those events also able to see the show houses?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's when we'll open the private backyard gardens and all of the show houses, and they're able to walk through at their leisure and enjoy all of the plants.
I've seen, I think one of the fairly famous photo of Jean Sauvé and François Mitterrand, the then president of France, sitting, I don't know if it was exactly in these chairs or this table, but there is a photo of them in the greenhouses. But are you aware in the time that you've worked here of the greenhouse being used for that kind of more intimate hosting opportunity?
For sure, yeah. There'll be some private dinners that are hosted in here, and our team is definitely involved with the setup for that. As well as whenever there are major events like Order of Canada, we make sure that everything is looking beautiful and tidy. At Christmas time, there'll be family visiting, and so we'll have a beautiful Christmas tree in here, as well as all of the governor generals and their spouses, their family. There's some historic photos of them in here as well.
Fantastic. Is there anything else that you think people listening to us or watching us right now would want to know?
Well, I think maybe what some people might not know too, at Rideau Hall, the public grounds are open for enjoyment. So there's a skating rink on site, weather permitting, and
I guess lots of trees on the public grounds, right?
That's true.
Because, in terms of the landscaping that happens on the public grounds, that isn't necessarily the responsibility. We have other colleagues who are looking after that. But do you have any role in sort of looking at the planting plan for the public gardens as well?
For sure, yeah. So most of the gardens that we work on have already been here historically, so a lot of what we do is maintained. Right. But on the occasion that there is a plant installation, we like to keep everything in-house, and right. So a lot of my coworkers are very well versed in designing, and they'll create a planting plan, and we have a lot of students in the summertime that will help planting all of that out. And then we have our Canadian Heritage Rose Garden as well. That's a beautiful feature on the property. That garden Titian started about 26 years ago. So that's a beautiful place in the public area for the public to visit.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Kathleen, thank you. Thank you for sharing all this. And I am a little envious that you get to come to work here every day, but you guys do a wonderful job and really appreciate you chatting with me today.
Thank you very much.
And that wraps up this episode of Capital Stories. Join us next time as we continue to celebrate the triumphs, reflect on the challenges, and peer into the future of the National Capital Region. Thanks for joining us.